ॐ जननीं शारदां देवीं रामकृष्णं जगद्गुरुं पादपद्मे तयो श्रित्वा प्रणमामि मुहुर्मुहुः. The purpose of human life is somehow to transcend the nature and go beyond. If we can clearly understand we are in the prison of house of nature, then we will know we have to transcend and go beyond. How a bird in the cage will be struggling. If you bring a fish and put it in a small tub, its all freedom is curbed. How that fish might be struggling. It wants to go back into the river and ocean and be free. A bird put in the cage, it is accustomed, its nature, very nature is to fly freely in the sky. Here, there, search for its food and live. But if you may give all things it needs to survive, but the freedom has gone forever. It cannot meet its friends, it cannot look at the other birds flying. It is kept in a cage and it is limited. It can never fly anymore. It jumps from one here to there, there to here. You are giving its food, but where is the freedom? Same thing is what the jiva is within the nature. It is jumping from one place to another place, helplessly, from one body to another body. But where is the freedom? Freedom of mind, freedom of action, freedom of thought. I can't do anything. My karmas, karmic load, I cannot have sukha alone. I am bound to experience the dukkha. Nothing goes according to my will or my wish. I want something which I can never get. That change, that transformation, that slowly we understand we are caught in the mesh of the world. Slowly we evolve. The moment, the day you come to know, I am in the prison house of nature. I am bound from internal nature, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, ahankara, raga, dvesha. All these are within me. The inner enemies, the great demons are there within me. They are constantly binding me, forcing me to act. I have become a slave. Slave of senses, slave of body, slave of enjoyments in the world. When will I get released? So this is the human body is given to transcend this nature and attain freedom, to open the cage and fly away, to jump out from the bowl, the fish, into the river. So this human body, if you do not utilize, it can go in any direction like a vehicle. Vehicle can go in any direction, anywhere. It can go towards the pit or towards the mountain. Anywhere it can go. What will be its fate if it goes downward towards its destruction? So here Sri Ramakrishna comes to our rescue to give us the right understanding. My child, you have acquired a human body. The purpose is to transcend nature and be free forever. And you are divine within. Manifest that inner divinity. Break this identification with body, that I am this body. Let it go away. Release the ropes that you are holding and be free. Swamiji says you are divine. Divine is your nature. The purpose of human life is to manifest this inner divinity. And this manifestation of divinity is done by controlling the nature external and nature within to transcend and go beyond. So this is the whole essence of teachings of Hinduism. Master is speaking to Vaidyanath, continuing, you will make spiritual progress. People do not trust a man when he speaks about God. Even if great soul affirms that he has seen God, still the average person will not accept his words. He says to himself, if this man has really seen God, then let him show him to me. But can man learn to feel a person's pulse in a day? He must go about with the physician for many days. Then only he can distinguish the different pulses. Different pulses, in the last class we saw, it is reference to the Ayurvedic system of medicine, where Kapha, Vata, Pitta, Nadi. Nadi is a tube or a thing in which something flows, and the flow is registered by a particular pulsation. The pulsation, we are accustomed to see the flow of the blood according to the beats of the heart. Heart pumps the blood. So the pumping of the blood, each time it pumps, a certain amount of blood shoots up, and again there is a relax to pump again. The relaxation is left behind. So there is a constant pulse going on. This pulse is one thing. And the flow, there is a flow of the blood apart from the pulse. The flow carries a subtle sensation which can be perceived by a extremely sensitive people. That sensitivity we lose. Normal people will not have that sensitivity. It can be activated by repeated showing. Do you see this? Do you see this? Do you see this? Again and again. Make him hold your pulse and ask him to see. Well, this is Kapha Nadi. This is Pitta Nadi. This is how it is beating you. This is in normal condition. Kapha is normal condition. Pitta is normal condition. When they balance each other, and Vata is in normal condition. So these conditions, normal conditions, abnormal condition. Which Nadi is? This differentiation of Nadi itself takes quite a long time. Now it is slowly disappearing because of lack of that sensitivity. There are certain parts, automobile parts, which needs some, in those days, earlier about 3-4 decades before, actually it's a piston that pumps the diesel in the vehicle. The piston is there. Piston wears out. The wearing out of the piston, there will be leakage. The desired amount of diesel doesn't go. So they collect the old pumps and the pistons are to be replaced. The one matches with the other exact diameter. This is very extremely sensitive thing. The size to know and the smoothness, wear out, which aspect of the piston is worn out. All these things, it needs highly specialized scientific instruments to detect. In those days it was not available and it takes long time, each one to test, and now like artificial intelligence we did not have anything or computerized system. So it has to be manually checked, or reflection of the light and all that. It is a complicated process. You cannot waste lot of time. But these people, there were some people who can just feel the subtlety, extremely subtle. Now, suppose I take a stone and rub 10 times on a rough surface or on another stone. How much has worn out? Can we feel with the hand? It's very sensitive. These people in Japan, some blind people were accustomed to see. They will just touch and see and put differentiate and put. They are blind. There's that sixth sense of touch, that sense of touch is so perfect that they used to just touch, see, and this gradation. Now, according to gradation, the other part of the piston is set. Within no time, thousands of settings they do. 2-3 people will sit, and it is how much of sensitivity is required. Extremely sensitive. So that kind of sensitivity is required to perceive the spirit in matter. What a kind of mind. It is focusing. It is not concentration, not ekagrata, but focusing of the mind. Ekagrata we use in certain places when we want to transcend a particular state and go beyond. Otherwise, focusing of mind. We have to focus the mind, and mind must be so pure to perceive the spiritual existence there. It is so subtle. In Upanishads, it gives the example how we separate the spirit from the matter is like the deep within the grass, the subtlest, innermost core will be there. That core can be pulled out. If you cut a grass, the grass shoots are coming out. The innermost, can you take it out? If you pull a little, it breaks off. How subtle it is to pull it out slowly. See it is not damaged, and how much of attention you have to pay. How much of your touch. If the touch is hard, you can't catch it. It gets already pressed down. If you leave it, it doesn't get a hold. After holding it in such a way, it is not harm. Pulling it out from the center of the grass. That pulling out, little pressure is more, it breaks. If you do not put the required pressure, it doesn't move at all. A particular pressure, slowly you take it out. How slowly you take it out, like that slowly you have to slip within. So subtle. So this we use how to, here Sri Ramakrishna is giving gross example to meet the subtlemost, innermost core of our being, the spirit and matter. All these external sheets covering the soul, the self, The Atman is matter. From the externalmost bodily existence, body is matter. Inside, if you go, the sheath of energy, pranamaya kosha, then mental sheath, manomaya kosha, then vijnanamaya kosha, sheath of knowledge, then anandamaya kosha, sheath of bliss, then the self comes. All this up to the anandamaya, all these belong to the prakriti, nature. It's part of matter, gross, subtle and subtlest, but all belong to nature. Beyond is the spirit that makes the matter function with life. So Sri Ramakrishna is, we must go about with a physician for many days, only then he can distinguish different pulses. He must be in the company of those with whom the examination of the pulse has become a regular profession. Once in our ashrama also we brought one Vaidya of the ancient types who can identify the pulses, these varieties of pulses. Can anyone and everyone pick out a yarn of a particular count? The yarn has a particular diameter, is measured by particular counts, 100 grade, 40 grade, and all that. It depends upon the thickness of the thread. We use the term count because within 1 inch or 1 inch, how many threads are there? But if you place thread close to each other, how many threads come in that particular area? The warp and the woof, both are measured. Now, the usually finest dhotis usually contain 100 by 100 count. So, its diameter is decided, 100 by 100 count, how it will be. It must be smooth, fine, and not compressed that it is hard and rough. It is refinement. Then it can be of variation, 100 by 80, 100 by 60. Some are loose, one side is, warp is loose, and this one. But it is covering the whole thing. By seeing a thread, we cannot distinguish between the two threads, 60 number and 80 number, 40 number. But those who deal every day with that, they can easily identify. Oh, this is 40. The moment it says this is 40 number thread, this is 60 number thread. Can anyone and everyone pick out a yarn of a particular count? If you are in that trade, you can distinguish in a moment. Just looking, you can distinguish a 40 count thread from the 41. Extremely subtle. The kirtan was about to begin. This is the whole thing what Sri Ramakrishna is making him calm down, turn inward, slowly, day by day, go and discover yourself within. Who are you in this body? How do you separate from the bodily existence in sleep? Find out who you are calmly. Get accustomed to the spiritual world little by little. The kirtan was about to begin. Some Vaishnavas were seated on one side with their mridangas, their drums and cymbals. A drummer began to play on his instrument, preparatory to the singing. The sweet and melodious sound of the mridanga filled the courtyard, calling to mind the ecstatic kirtan of Sri Gauranga. The master passed into deep spiritual state. This mridanga, mostly it is coal. It is made of the external, beating is done with the two hands, and it will be in the shape of a declining diameter. One side slightly bigger diameter and a hollow made up of clay. It's called coal in Bengal, a particular kind of mridanga. That is, Pakwaji is there, mridanga is there. All generally term used is because it's associated with Gauranga. It must be the coal. The sweet melodious sound of the mridanga filled the court, calling to mind the ecstatic kirtan of Gauranga. Wherever we usually hear the sound of coal, a particular kind of drum, horizontal drum, with both hands it is played. And this instrument especially is used by those traditional people who belong to the tradition of Gauranga. Now, this is that clay mud used is from a particular place, usually. So, when I think Gauranga himself will be going with his devotee circle, somebody says the mridanga is made out of this clay here, this is the mud on which they were walking and going. The moment he heard, he went into ecstatic state, because the mridanga is associated with singing associated with God, and how the link comes in the mind, suddenly it transports to the Lord who is eternally there, and he enters into ecstatic state. So that is the hearing that sound itself, the ecstatic kirtan of Gauranga. The master passed into deep spiritual state. Spiritual state is forgetful of the external world around and the within. Now and then he looked at the drummer and said, my hair is all standing on end. Horripilation. When emotions associated with nature and divine, or sometimes even fear, tell a child or some youngster who is afraid of ghosts, take him in the night and just tell him a story of the ghost. You see his hair standing out of fear, like that, out of emotions that is associated with nature and with God, horripilation will be there. It is a combination of mind doesn't understand, intellect doesn't understand. It leaves its place, it simply dissolves, and emotions are there, feelings are there, emotion is there, and this emotion is in such a way, it is it is want to touch, it is feeling the touch of nature, it is feeling the touch of nature. The emotion is feeling the touch of nature. There will be a horripilation. It is a state in which Usually music means it is tuning ourselves with the nature to be beyond. Vedic chanting is where we invoke the divine from the transcendental into the relative and perceive. Music is what transports us from the nature to the beyond. Now, all of a sudden, the nature is, I am in tune with the nature, and nature is participating with me, it's pulsating with me, and throbbing, and how I would feel its presence, how I would be feeling its glory. That the skin makes its horripilation, the whole hair stand on the ends. Sri Ramakrishna is passing through that. My hair is all standing on end. The singers asked what kind of song they should sing. The master said humbly, something about Gauranga, if you please. The kirtan began. They sang about the celestial beauty of Sri Gauranga. The one who has a particular sense to perceive, the sense of perception, they are numbered. Now, I may not be able to perceive the beauty everywhere in everything. Everything has its own beauty, its own appealing nature. I may not be sensitive to feel. Now, when a crow sees its own baby crow, it may be fascinated. But when a man sees a baby crow, he may not feel the same thing what its mother feels. Or a tiger looking at its cub, it may be feeling. How it is so appealing, so pleasing. It is seeing all the beauty there. But we may not feel. Every object has beauty embedded in it. Some we perceive that pleases our mind at a particular wavelength. Now, the same may not give me same joy, and I may not be able to see the same beauty at all times. My mind is dejected. If a beautiful thing is there, which was charming to me, I am not in a mood. Even if it comes in the front of me, my attention doesn't go to that at all. How the things happen, you see, the concept of beauty. But there is a beauty which transcends all limitations. The beauty within is entirely different. The beauty of God is entirely different. In and through nature, when divine manifests, every soul responds to it, irrespective of its state of mind, because it is the inner soul which responds to the divine always. The divinity within is manifest by that. So, external things fail to reveal the beauty, but the transcendental aspect is of a different nature, and it has to be done. Om Niranjanam Nityamanantarupam Bhaktanukampa Dhritavigraham Vai Ishavataram Parameshamidhyam Tam Ramakrishnam Shirasa Namamaha.